Joe Burrow versus Jayden Daniels. Bengals at Commanders. Let's talk sports. You know, the final day of preseason week 2 is officially here for the NFL. Guys, I can't tell you how, much of a blast I've been having covering this, week 2 of preseason. It's just been beautiful. I mean, I predicted, I said, preseason of week 1 might be a little bit of a struggle. And all teams, in my opinion, on preseason week 1 definitely all struggled. Unless you're the New York Giants. I mean, let's be real. The New York Giants are fucking crazy on the preseason for goddamn some reason. But now, guys, we had today what felt like a regular game, at least the first couple of drives, was Joe Burrow versus Jayden Daniels. We had Bengals at Commanders, guys. And, the Bengals have been interesting. All right, they did win their last week preseason game. But the Washington Commanders have not been winning their preseason games. So they said, you know what, we're going to pick up the pace today. We're going to bring out, our starters. We're going to bring out Jayden Daniels. We're going to bring out all that. And then they brought out this rookie running back named Bill. That's what he wants to go by, named Bill. And this fucking rookie running back just absolutely shredded the Bengals defensive line. It was just absolutely insane when you're watching the match, guys. It was beautiful. I mean, at one moment he got like 30 yards, and then he got another 20 yards, and then he just kept going and going, and then, it's set up for, it's set up for the Commanders, set up for Jayden Daniels to scramble in for a touchdown. It was just so beautiful to see. And, it was kind of funny, everybody's saying that, Jayden Daniels, will he be able to, repeat what he did last year? People are saying he might have a drop-off. But, I'm going to be real, guys. I mean, this is still the Jayden Daniels that we know. I mean, he has not changed his tune. And it even seems like he's gotten better. He's gotten improvement, He's so much more calmer now. He's experienced some playoff games. He's got that experience under his belt now. And so now he can take it to, maybe winning the title, maybe winning, finally that championship. And, I don't think the Commanders are going to be hitting those Super Bowl levels, not for quite a while. But, anything is possible in the NFL, especially when you got Jayden Daniels as your quarterback. And, I'll be real, guys. Joe Burrow, the start of this game, was not good. The first couple of drives were abysmal. So many passes just getting dropped. So many passes that, there was this easy third down pass that Joe Burrow was trying to make, and he couldn't even make that pass, too. He missed that one. It was just, you were definitely seeing all the Joe Burrow mistakes, and you've been seeing a lot of Joe Burrow mistakes in the preseason in general. Every time Joe Burrow has said he's come out, I'd say last week he looked really good, but this week did not start off with a good start. Now, he was able to tie up the game with the Commanders because the Commanders had an absolute insane 2-touchdown drive start, but that's kind of all they did. The Commanders went into this thing of giving up, But I really like how the Commanders and, the Bengals really took this game seriously, how Joe Burrow really took this preseason game seriously. Kind of turning down the trend of, preseason games don't matter. Kind of taking that trend, being like, nah, this preseason game is going to matter because, we start out the season with, 2 losses. Always in the beginning of the season, we start out with a couple of losses in the weeks. So I really like how they're trying to, start something new. But when you start something new and you're scrambling around and you take a pretty bad sack, that is going to raise some concerns. And, what does it raise the concerns? Well, it raises the stupidity meter. Why would you, let yourself even, get in the vicinity of that? Throw away the ball, do something else. Run into the fucking out of bounds if you got to, if they're on your ass like this, It's just like, why are we running around like we're Lamar, like we're running around like we're Lamar, dodging all these defenders, etc., moving out of the pocket, and that's why, Lamar's going to, he's going to move out of the pocket. He's going to do all this shit, but he's going to eventually probably throw the ball or scramble. Joe Burrow had the opportunity to scramble if he wanted to, if he was going to do this whole scrambling and, finding the receiver or whatever, let's let the play out, let's get out of the pocket. If we're going to do all this, well, actually, do this. Don't take a stupid sack, and you definitely saw that today, definitely taking a very stupid sack. So that's definitely one thing. But the Bengals did, even out. Again, Jake Browning came in there as that quarterback in there, and he absolutely did his thing. Throwing deep balls. He had a bad start. I would say he had a bad start in the beginning, but he evened out, got some touchdowns, etc. The Bengals were getting some touchdowns, and the Bengals today actually won this game. And as I'm recording this right now, guys, the game technically has 29 seconds left. It's basically over, but the Bengals win by the Commanders once again, 31-17, because, look, Commanders are definitely an interesting team. They got some rookies that I can see that are probably going to be starting in the regular season, but they also got a lot of these, veteran backups that just bring nothing to the table. These guys are throwing interceptions. These guys are barely moving the ball. And you see that with the score from the Commanders. But there's one thing that I saw a big improvement in this preseason game. I really saw the Commanders' defense. Now, sadly, this defense definitely gave up at the end of the game. But at the first couple of quarters, Washington Commanders' defense played beautifully, guys. The pass rush was so damn good. The blitz, the cut. I love the fact that they also blitz. They were doing, their blitz, but they also was keeping coverage. So no big plays could be snuck out. And I really like that too. It shows the aggressiveness of the defense, getting to the ball, really tackling these Bengals and really fucking bringing them down, which I really wanted to see in this game, guys. And you definitely got that, which I really did enjoy. I loved how the defense played, but I wish the defense would have played for 3 or 4 quarters, because the third quarter, they completely gave up and let the Bengals smack them. Now, the Bengals, they somehow were able to easily come back and take the lead of the game with under 70 seconds. They got 2 touchdowns. So they did get 2 touchdowns. So that's the reason why, they immediately started beating the Commanders. But after that whole ordeal happened, it felt like the Commanders' defense just kind of gave up. And I know you go, well, it's backups. And I go, well, these backups are fighting for their jobs. Hey, backups, maybe fucking play a little better because you're a backup. Maybe one day you're going to have to actually step up and be a backup and actually take over, if some player gets injured. I just people say preseason games don't matter, but preseason games matter to these backups because these backups are trying to win positions, trying to keep their jobs in the NFL. And so if you give up in the third and fourth quarter, that's 2 quarters. That's 2 quarters of a preseason game. You're giving up. You're giving reps up. The defense is giving reps up. You're not proving yourself to the coaching staff that you could be a really good linebacker. You could be really good defense on the defense side of the ball. You're not doing any of that when you give up in the third and fourth quarter and you basically just wasted another hour of reps that you could have gotten, that you could have got some tape for. Because, you're not also trying to keep your job. You're also playing for the NFL league. People are going to tape this match. There's going to be tape of you. And you want to keep that tape going forward so you can get better opportunities or keep playing in the NFL. And when you completely give up on the defensive side of the ball in the third, fourth quarter, it really sucks, and it just feels like the Commanders' third and fourth string guys are not playing very well. It's another loss on the preseason, and this really shows that thank God y'all got Jayden Daniels. Thank God y'all got some rookie running backs that, can absolutely truck and go through the defensive line, because then when you rely on these backup quarterback like Johnson today, it's like, what the fuck are we doing relying on Johnson? Johnson threw a goddamn interception. You just see Johnson. No receiver is open. This whole play that happens, and like, this whole play that happens in the third quarter, guys, I swear to God, you look at the coverage. The Bengals have really great coverage. They have all the receivers covered. And Johnson air fucking throws the ball. And guess what happens? An easy interception happens. What are we doing here? I mean, Lord mighty. So yeah, definitely interesting. So let's rate everybody, guys, before we get into the game summary, because we're going to recap the whole entire game, because I want to talk about the whole entire game. But let's rate everybody before we get into that. We go on break. So for the Bengals, offensively side, I'm going to give them a 5. And the reason why I'm going to give the Bengals a 5 today is because they pulled out at the end, but I don't think today really showed that the Bengals really had it. You know, I like what, Browning was doing on the quarterback side, really throwing them deep balls, etc. That was really cool to see. But I really think the way the offensive line today was playing has me very concerned. And I look at the offensive line today from the Bengals and I go, how is this offensive line going to protect Joe Burrow? How is this defense side of the ball that it feels so uninspired, feels so, dead, and they have to wait till like the third and fourth quarter to finally, get up and start doing something? That has me concerned. And what I saw today from the Commanders was, okay, they gave up at the end, but what they did today, they played better than the Bengals did. Guys, 31 points. And I still think the Commanders played better than them. Like, that is crazy to think about, guys. So, 5 out of 10 for the offensive side. But defensive side, I'm going to give a 6 because they actually got some turnovers. They absolutely took over and won the game. So, 6 out of 10. Commanders offense will get a 7. I liked what the Commanders did today. Their running back, Bill, went fucking crazy. And also, too, Jayden Daniels easily getting tiptoeing to the touchdown. It was just so graceful, just so great to see. Just shows that, keep fucking with Jayden Daniels, you'll see what happens. And also, too, guys, defensive side of the ball, let's rate them. Now, I remember I rated the Washington Commanders like a 4 last time. I'm going to give them a 5. I like that they improved, but they need to improve even more. The backup defense needs to improve way better. Way fucking better. So yeah, guys, let's get into this recap because, we got to talk about it. Right off the bat, Joe Burrow and his quarterback, running back Bill, they were able to get a touchdown drive right off the bat. This was a 4-minute drive, 14 plays. We start off with a 3-yard run, and then we get a 4-yard run. Pass incomplete because Joe Burrow was having some issues. We got some penalties. But then we get a 6-yard run. And then this is where I see the running back that goes fucking crazy. All right? A 6-yard run. 11-yard pass. All right? And then a 2-yard run. A 1-yard run. And then an easy, right up the middle, touchdown. Beautiful. Even with Joe Burrow's mistakes, the running back was able to keep a score going. But then, right after this, guys, 6 plays, 74 fucking yards, 1 minute and 51 seconds, a 19-yard run. This was from Bill. The running back was going crazy. A 40-yard run. That's fucking insane. Then a 1-yard run. They finally stopped the run, but then they get a touchdown. No huddle. Jay Daniels scrambles up for a 14-yard touchdown. That was really cool to see, too. I really enjoyed that. And then another touchdown drive. We had a 5-yard run. And then we had another 12-yard pass. And then we had a no huddle pass short. It's a short pass, and that was an easy touchdown. So that was a really cool thing, too. But then the Bengals take over in the second quarter and completely dominate. So the second quarter, guys, the Bengals get a 16-play touchdown, 60 yards, taking 6 minutes off the clock. We had a 6-yard run, a negative 1-yard pass, but then we had a 14-yard pass. We did have a negative 10-yard penalty, which is, it's always going to happen in the preseason. They also got a 15-1-yard. But then, they kind of slow down. They go for a 3-yard run, a 4-yard pass, and then they pick it up with a 13-yard pass, a 6-yard run, and then Joe Burrow passed short right for a 4-yard touchdown. Then, another touchdown. This is Browning. Browning comes in. Browning did get sacked, but Browning does do a 23-yard pass, a 4-yard pass, a 20-yard pass again, touchdown. Jay Browning played beautifully today, guys. Now, we get a 2-play touchdown, too. Jay Browning passes right to Tinsley, and Tinsley for 21 yards gets an easy touchdown, too. And then these guys both end the games off with field goals, guys. Players of the game, I'd say players of the game today was Bill from the Commanders, the running back. Jay Browning is definitely a player of the game. Joe Burrow is definitely, not Joe Burrow. I'm going to say Jay Browning. Jay Browning played way better than Joe Burrow today, which was kind of funny. But yeah, guys, this was a fantastic game to watch. It was entertaining for the whole entire ride. I really enjoyed what I saw today. And guys, let me know, did y'all enjoy, week 2 of preseason? I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for the last week of preseason. And it's crazy. We're about to be at the last week of preseason, guys, and the actual NFL regular season will start. I really hope y'all are enjoying this new podcast. I mean, my Pandora people, thank you for all the support, guys. I just want to tell y'all something because, we're getting to the end of the episode. I'm closing out here, so I might as well tell y'all. This is the first time in my whole podcast, career of my 4 years going to go on to 5 once we're in 2026, guys. My whole, almost 5 years of doing this show, I have never had a second podcast show be this successful in 2 weeks. Guys, I really appreciate y'all's support. Y'all have been really, checking out the episodes, really just showing all the support for the football content. I really appreciate that, guys. And it's got me thinking in the future what I want to do with the music reviews, because I want to make the music review show even more engaging for y'all, even longer episodes that y'all can kind of just, put in the background, just kind of let play out. I want to keep doing more of that stuff. And I'm really having a blast covering the NFL, guys. I hope you're having a blast listening to this coverage. My people that can't watch, sadly, a lot of people work real jobs, so they can't watch 10 games every Sunday, or, can't watch all the games on, Sunday or Friday or Saturday or Thursday, etc. So I'm really glad that y'all chose me as your sports podcast to get a recap of all the action that's going to be happening in the NFL. And I will not let y'all down, guys. This is about to be my whole entire life for the next rest of the year, so get ready. So, guys, if you're on Pandora, my Pandora people, make sure you follow this show, guys. We're dropping new NFL content weekly. Every week there's new NFL content because, guys, y'all know, weekly NFL content, always, and also, too, guys, I do drop new episodes every single day, so there's always something to listen to if you need that. My Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, wherever you get y'all's podcast at. Just make sure you follow, turn on notifications, guys. I really had a great time with preseason week 2. Let me know, did you enjoy week season pre-2? Are you ready for the NFL regular season? I don't know, let me know. Thank y'all so much for listening, guys. It's been a great weekend. I'll see y'all later. You have a good one. Bye.